This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, I got to say, I did not see this one coming. There's been a lot of real smart moves by the Trump administration over the last 10 months. There's been a lot of times where he's put Democrats in a box, put them in a tough position. They have to defend open borders. They have to defend crime in our cities. They have to defend war. Trump keeps ending wars, and they really have no answer. Now they have the shutdown, which clearly is driven by the Democrats, and they're not winning that one. They are, for once, not winning the battle over a government shutdown, but this thing kind of snuck up on us. And I have to say, it is genius what Donald Trump is doing at the White House, just flat out brilliant. I mean, I'm not sure he came up with this on his own, but somebody did, and we have to give them credit. They are renovating the White House. Donald Trump is adding a ballroom, something he says that presidents in the past, people in the past have all called for. There is no ballroom. They have to hold events outside under tents and hope the weather cooperates. So he said, screw it. Let's add a ballroom. And the brilliance of it is we're not paying for it. You're not paying for it. They cannot accuse him of squandering taxpayer dollars, which past presidents have done. In this case, he's paying for it, and other people, other donors are kicking in, probably willingly, gleefully saying, oh, I'd love it. I'd love to get my name on the new White House ballroom. It's going to be 90,000 square feet. It's going to cost $200 million at least. And Trump is going to make sure it is done right and it is done on time, which means, I don't know, in a year or two, while Trump is still serving his second term, they're going to cut a ribbon on a new White House ballroom, which, let's be honest, will be spectacular. It'll look great. It'll be functional. They use it all the time. It'll be there for the rest of our lives. Yes. Here's why Democrats hate it. They don't hate the idea of a ballroom. They know past presidents have done major renovations at the White House, but it will be Trump's thing. It will be the Trump ballroom. Maybe he'll even put his name on it, which, you know, the next Democrat president will rip right off, but it won't matter. It will be Trump's, and it will be his achievement, his accomplishment, adding a beautiful ballroom to the White House. And the best part of this, they're losing their minds yet again. Yes, Trump is destroying the White House, says Gavin Newsom. Well, here's an aerial photograph of the White House, and here's where Trump's ballroom is going to be. I would say it's going to take up, maybe 10% of the White House property. It's going to be at the far end of the east wing of the White House, where there's nothing right now. So they're doing a little demolition to the side of the east wing. The Democrats, the media got a hold of the photograph, posted it everywhere. It said, it's as KJP said on our book tour, it's the perfect metaphor. Trump is destroying the White House. Really? You want to stick with that when this thing is done? When they unveil the new Trump ballroom, you want to say it destroyed the White House? What are they going to say? That it cost the taxpayers? No, it didn't. That it destroyed this beautiful historic building? No, it didn't. I'm not sure, again, whose idea this was, but it was absolutely perfect. Trump is just the latest president to renovate the White House. And I'm pretty sure he's the first one to pay for it himself or get donors to pay for it to cost the taxpayers nothing. Here's the brief list of renovations presidents have done. Teddy Roosevelt built the West Wing. Taft, he built the Oval Office. FDR added a second floor and an indoor pool. Harry Truman gutted the entire White House. He moved across the street while they renovated the entire place. And of course, Nixon filled in the pool and made it a press room and added a bowling alley. Barack Obama covered up the tennis court and made it a basketball court, because he's a big basketball guy. All those renovations paid for by taxpayers. This one paid for by Trump. And this one will be a monument to him, which is why the Democrats and the media and the hens on the View, why they're losing their minds, because they know the one thing they have going for them. They know Trump in their hearts. They know Trump is done. And January of 2029, Donald Trump's going to get on the chopper. He's going to leave the White House. Hopefully, J.D. Vance succeeds him. But Trump is gone in 3.5 years. The ballroom will be there for the rest of our lives. That's what they hate about it. This is a permanent reminder that Donald Trump served 2 terms, served this country, and made this little renovation to the White House. It will, every time there's an event, the country will be reminded of what Trump did to the White House. And when he's done, it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, it'll be a little gaudy. There'll be some gold. There'll be some pretty lavish fixtures to this, but it will be functional. It will be beautiful, and it will be all because of Trump. And they can't stand it. The idea that Trump is going to be a president who leaves a legacy, who leaves his mark on the White House, is driving them nuts. They can't stand the thought of it. And once again, they're not thinking straight. They would have been better off just ignoring this, but they can't, because Trump triggers them. Trump drives them insane. Hillary Clinton actually had the gall to tweet about this post, and of course, Hillary doesn't allow you to reply to her tweets. This big champion of free speech, Hillary Clinton, she tweeted that Trump was destroying the White House, and it was immediately reminded that, here it is, it's not his house, says Hillary, it's your house, and he's destroying it. This is from a woman who literally stole the furniture out of the White House when she left, $28,000 worth of furniture. This is a woman whose husband did more to defile this historic building than anybody. We know, Hillary, we know what Bill did in the White House. Donald Trump's not destroying it. He's not defiling it. He's not defacing it. He's renovating it, which again, many presidents have done. But I have to say, the best part of this was watching people who don't think it through. Let's be honest. If you're The View, if you're Joe Scarborough, once again, you show up at work each day in a full state of rage, seething at the thought of Trump sitting in the White House. It is driving them nuts. And they know in the end, when it's done, it's going to be great, and it's going to be all Trump, and they just can't stand the thought of it. Here's Joe Scarborough talking about how obscene it is that the sitting president is doing a renovation to the White House. Go ahead.
In front of the facade of the White House, it is not being obliterated as Donald Trump, who promised that he was not going to take a wrecking ball to the existing structure, has taken a wrecking ball to existing structure. I'm going to say, Mick, it really is. It is hard to watch that, and it's hard to believe that any president could destroy the White House and take a wrecking ball to an existing structure so historic. That is what's happening. It'd be one thing if you were building on or you were doing things inside, but to take literally a wrecking ball to the White House, it's grotesque. It's just grotesque.
Yeah, and this after the Rose Garden, and I guess the patio that they have put in,
Well,
which you could argue. But this
far different.
is painful. I mean, this is historic structure.
It's history being torn to shreds. And again, is everybody? I mean, so if somebody wants to go into the White House, the next person wants to just knock down all the walls and turn it into a disco. Congress can't do anything. I mean, seriously, you're destroying like one of the most historic structures on the planet.
Destroying it.
And the cost.
And are we saying that whoever we elect president has the right to destroy, just tear things up, tear it to the ground, turn it into something else?
Ooh, wrecking ball. How many times do you say wrecking ball? And it's obscene. No, he said grotesque and painful that they tore like one wall down at the far end of the East Wing to put in a much needed ballroom. And he wants Congress to stop him. What a great idea. Of course, The View is having trouble with this too. I mean, this is the perfect quandary for these people who don't, have any real cogent thoughts. It's just rage. Trump's doing it bad. I'm not sure these old hags will be around when the ballroom is done, but what are they going to do when they open it up and it's spectacular and people say, boy, they did a great job? You think they're going to cut corners? You think they're going to not have the best contractors and construction firms doing this? It's going to be great and they'll lose it. Here's The View yesterday. Oh, by the way, they broke into song too, singing, "You Don't Own It."
Hey, that's a wonderful welcome, but you're not going to like what we're about to tell you. Because you know who is still bulldozing ahead with building a White House ballroom that no one voted for, no one asked for. And once again, it's promises made and promises broken. Take a look.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it. And pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite. Right behind us, we're building a ballroom. They've wanted a ballroom for 150 years. And I'm giving that honor to this wonderful place. Right on the other side, you have a lot of construction going on, which you might hear periodically. You're going to see a ballroom, the likes of which I don't think it'll be topped.
Okay. Okay. That is not your building. You
Correct.
don't own that building. That would be like me going over to Trump Tower and saying I'm going to build a disco. They've wanted a disco in Trump Tower for hundreds of years. Yeah. And so, I mean, come on, man. You don't own that building. That is the people's building. You don't own it. Let's sing it. What? You don't own it. You cannot take it down. You don't own it. Take your
People watch this. What a great idea. What a brilliant idea. A ballroom, which will be great, and they'll lose their minds all over again, and he doesn't care. He's taking a wrecking ball to the people's house. Oh, not that. I mean, a ballroom or a bowling alley, a ballroom or a swimming pool where JFK can force himself on young interns, a ballroom or a celebration of our trans friends. Let's look at what Joe Biden did to defile the White House. Joe Biden painted the pillars or covered the pillars in pride flag colors and had a celebration of trans people. This was not that long ago. Yes, here's the last president, Democrat, The View's favorite president, celebrating, I don't know, trans pride at the White House. Remember this, where you had a guy who flashed his bosoms at the camera, who danced. They are dancing, these trans people at the White House. Good thing he had such respect for the people's house, isn't it? Isn't that good that we don't have a president We used to have a president, as KJP said, was one of the most decent people she's known. We'll get to her. That's what he did to the White House. Oh, and don't forget, his son lost his Coke in the White House, and Joe Biden blamed the construction workers on the fact that Hunter lost his Coke in the White House. That's how much respect Joe Biden had for the White House. Well, it was it was a great idea. It's going to be a great, even if it's not a great ballroom, just the fact that he did it and drove them nuts. I'm enjoying. Someone at the White House, someone on the Trump team gets up every day and says, what can we do to drive the libs insane? And this was a great idea, and it will be a great ballroom, and it will cost the taxpayers nothing. Imagine that. And Trump will celebrate with the construction workers, and most of the country will cheer and applaud. All right, we got a lot to get to on this Wednesday, October 22nd. They sure can pick them. Yes, the Democrats who are right now planning to go to right now voting in early voting, and right now planning to elect a communist, Marxist, Muslim fanatic mayor of New York City. We'll get to the latest on that. In Virginia, they're going to elect a lieutenant governor who wants to murder his political opponents and their children. An absolutely unhinged, deranged Democrat is going to be attorney general, not lieutenant governor, attorney general in Virginia. The polls are close, tied, but Jay Jones, I'm predicting now, is going to be the next attorney general, a guy who wants to kill his political opponents and piss on their graves, to quote him. You thought that was bad? Well, they got a new Democrat darling in Maine. His name is Graham Plattner. And all those people over on Saturday at the No Kings who are calling Trump a Nazi, Stephen Miller a Nazi. That's what Robert De Niro said. He's a Nazi. Well, I don't think Stephen Miller has a Nazi tattoo, but the newest Democrat hopeful, he does. He's got a Nazi tattoo. And that's not all. This is perhaps the worst candidate I've ever seen, but Democrats are, they can pick him, boy. They can pick him. Bernie Sanders has already endorsed this guy. We'll get to all the details on Grant Plattner, new Democrat darling in Maine. And we'll get the latest from KJP on her book tour. God, I don't think this is working. I don't think Karine Jean-Pierre is winning any friends on either side of the aisle. We'll tell you about that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
If there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. Kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values, hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling green powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling dream powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. You know what else is rich before we get to the new Democrat darling? You know what else is rich? Listening to Democrats talk about Trump removing history, destroying history, this historic building. These same people cheered, celebrated when their foot soldiers ripped down statues not just of Robert E. Lee, Abe Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. They took a Lincoln statue down at Boston Common, put it in storage during the insane George Floyd era. Those people now want you to tell you they they respect our history and our monuments. Sure you do. No, it's just not going to fly this time. Sorry. All right, let's get to Graham Plattner. Democrats thought they had a guy. Man, they had it. This guy was perfect. They were trying to stop Susan Collins, the biggest rhino in D.C. They don't like Susan Collins because, she rubber stamps all Donald Trump's agenda, which, of course, is an absurd lie, but doesn't matter. They thought that they've been looking. They're looking around the country for, the next populist, the next everyman who can win back young men. They lost big with young men, white, black. Trump is winning over, setting records for support among young men. So who do they come up with? Oh, they got a Marine veteran, a combat veteran, an oyster farmer, a guy with a beard, just a regular guy. And they said, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what they need. Well, I'm not sure they vetted Grant Plattner so well. As soon as he declared that he was going to challenge Susan Collins, was going to challenge Janet Mills for the Democrat nomination for Senate, the op research went into overdrive, and we learned about this guy. I thought, if you thought Jay Jones was bad or Zoran Mondani, they're bad. Yes, they are bad. This guy is worse. It's just laughable. First of all, he's a Reddit guy. He went down the Reddit rabbit hole. He called himself a communist. A communist. Hell, Mamdani doesn't even do that. He is a communist. This guy called himself a communist. He said, all police are bastards. ACAB, all cops are bastards. He said, rural white Americans are racist and stupid. That's a good approach, a good strategy if you're trying to win Maine voters. All white rural Americans are racist and stupid. Well, if they're voting for you, they sure are. You thought that was bad? It gets worse. Graham Plattner, Democrat candidate for Senate, has an actual Nazi tattoo on his chest. Yes, an actual Nazi tattoo. The people supporting Graham, they're the ones telling you, Trump, who just freed Jewish hostages in Gaza, that guy, he's the Nazi. J.D. Vance, oh yeah, he's a Nazi. This guy, oh no, he was just going through a tough time when he came back from war in the Middle East. Well, Graham Plattner has an explanation. It's not a good one. He didn't know. He was just drunk with his Marine buddies on leave in Croatia, went to a tattoo parlor and said, oh, that looks cool. It's a skull and bones tattoo, which is called a Totenkopf, an emblem of the Nazi unit stationed at the death camps. How do we know he has a Nazi tattoo? Well, video was released of him shirtless and drunk at a bar. There's his tattoo, and there's the Nazi emblem. Clearly, that's what it is. He can't even deny it. His explanation is, I didn't know. I just went into a tattoo parlor and said, that looks cool. Let me get a skull and crossbones Nazi emblem on my chest. The people supporting him said Pete Hegseth's Christian tattoos were disqualifying. They were concerning. But this guy has an actual Nazi tattoo, and his explanation is, I didn't know. Just imagine if this was a Republican, if this were, the Republican candidate for AG, Jason Mayares in Virginia, and he had not just some Nazi, reference on Reddit, but an actual tattoo on his chest. Well, Graham he's in trouble now. His candidacy is in trouble. So he goes on with Tommy Vietor, the guy, Vetter, whatever his name is, the former Obama driver. He was a driver for Obama. Now he's a big star on Pod Save America. So he gets him on for damage control. Let's see if we can control, the damage this has done to his candidacy, and explains, he didn't know. I didn't know. I picked what if it was a swastika or an SS tattoo? Would he say the same thing? Well, how does this not just end your candidacy right there and then? Well, simple. It's a Democrat. You're a Democrat. You get to go on and say, it was a mistake. I was young. I was silly. I was foolish. I got a tattoo. Here he is with the Pod Save America guy explaining, why he did this.
First of all, great song choice. Tell us what's happening there, where you are. There's probably some listeners who are very confused. And the reason that we are showing this video is because at the very end, you can see a tattoo on your chest. And I've been told that some of your political opponents are telling reporters that tattoo has a Nazi affiliation. And I would like to know, is that accurate? Are you a secret Nazi?
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism and anti-Semitism and racism in general. I would say a lifelong opponent. The video is from my brother's marriage to his wife, to my sister-in-law, who I was serenading. I told them that my wedding gift to them would be my embarrassment. And so I performed a lip sync version of Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball to my sister-in-law on the day of her wedding to my brother. And now, of course, that embarrassment, which was mostly just held internally in the family, as we always watched that video at family events and laughed, is now shared with the world. So I feel like I'm just going to give them a wedding gift for the rest of my life. Which is great. I love them deeply. The reason, by the way, the reason of this video, Saturday was their 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
And my sister-in-law was showing everybody the video. And I was like, oh yeah, there it is. There's me being embarrassed. But what we also, so in 2007, I was a machine gun section leader with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. We were on the 2-2 Mu, and it was my 3rd deployment. My previous 2 had been to Fallujah and then Ramadi, 2006. And we went ashore in Split, Croatia, myself and a few of the other machine gun squad leaders, and we got very inebriated. And we did what Marines on liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo. And we went to a tattoo parlor in Split, Croatia, and we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines, and skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. And we got those tattoos. And then we all moved on with our lives. And I actually joined the Army after that, where I got I had to go to MEPS. I got screened. Later on, I got a security clearance and a full screen when I went to work for the State Department as a contractor doing security for the ambassador to Afghanistan in 2018. And I've also just lived my entire life like a regular person with a skull and crossbones on their chest, which by that I mean taking my shirt off, performing Miley Cyrus songs in front of my extended family, and to my sister-in-law, and just taking my shirt off at the beach.
Right, presumably going to the beach, yeah.
I mean, I went to college, I went to the gym, I did all the things, and at no point in this entire experience of my life did anybody ever once say, "Hey, you're a Nazi."
Oh, okay. You were drunk. Okay, imagine again. That's Pete Hegseth. Yeah, I got a Nazi tattoo, but it's what Marines do. It's what combat veterans do. Well, that's just part of it. He also, again, called himself a communist. He also asked, why don't black people tip? He's a former bartender, and he wants to know, why don't black people tip? Again, a Republican says that, it's over that day. Hell, a Republican says he wants to kill his opponents in a race for AG. It's over that day. But Democrats are so desperate. They have this fake narrative that he's just an oyster farmer. He's a fisherman. He's a little rich kid from Maine who is a total radical. This is from our friend Steve Robinson at the Maine Wire today. He also was a secret paramilitary instructor for the Maine Socialist Rifle Association. Got that? he's helping socialists in Maine learn how to shoot. That who we want? That who you want as your candidate in this current climate? A guy who's teaching radicals how to shoot? God, I hope they nominate him. I hope he wins the primary. I hope he runs for Senate. I can't stand Susan Collins, but is this really who you want representing you in Washington? Once again, I don't think this is going to do much to dispel the notion that the Democrats are the party of political violence and of extremism. His excuse on why he's not a Nazi is, look at my Reddit thread. I'm a communist. Okay. I know Maine has gone off the rails. I know Maine is as bad as, Massachusetts or Connecticut at this point. I know they don't have any Republicans representing them, even though 98% of the state is red. The cities have controlled the politics in that state. But is this really the guy you want running for U.S. Senate? This is the good thing. This is the good thing, is because he's a Democrat, because the media will run cover, because they'll allow him to lie and say he didn't know what he was doing, that he will remain in the race. And Bernie is continuing to support him, which means the radical fringe of the party will continue to support him. Maybe he'll get AOC and Ayanna and Liz Warren. Maybe they'll all support him and he'll win the nomination, and that will be great because he's a Nazi. Well, I'm sorry, he's not a Nazi. He's just a communist. He's a communist who hates rural white Americans and thinks black people don't tip. What a candidate. You sure can pick him, Democrats. Speaking of picking them, we got to get to the latest in the New York mayoral race. And I'm just going to say, I know most people on my side are saying you have to support Andrew Cuomo. You have to. You have no choice. It's the only way to stop the commie. I can't do it. I don't see how decent people in New York are supposed to go to the polls and vote for a guy who hates them. Forget the fact that he murdered 15,000 elderly New Yorkers, putting COVID positive patients in nursing homes and then lying about it and covering it up. That's a pretty big scandal. Forget the fact that he can't keep his hands to himself and he was making unwelcome advances on his staff that forced him to resign the governorship. That guy. Forget the fact that he's a creep and a liar. He hates you. If you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, hell, if you're a moderate, a centrist, and you don't want the commie, no decent person wants the commie, but you're supposed to go vote, reward this guy? I couldn't do it in good conscience. I know we're supposed to be above that. We're supposed to think in practical terms that you have to stop the communist, you have to stop the Muslim Marxist, and that would be nice. By the way, even if Republican Curtis Sliwa withdraws, quits the race, the polls show that Cuomo is still going to lose. He's down 5 points in the poll if you remove Sliwa. So you're going to go to the polls and vote for a guy who outwardly, openly hates you and outwardly, openly supports illegal alien criminals. I'll just say, if I were a New York voter, I couldn't do it. I'd vote for Sliwa, or I wouldn't vote. If Sliwa quits, I'd leave it blank. I couldn't do it. How do you, in good conscience, reward this piece of garbage, Andrew Cuomo, who again hates ICE, hates federal law enforcement, is supporting illegal alien criminals who are in New York City, and says conservatives aren't welcome here. That's what he says. We don't want you if you're a conservative. So he supports illegal alien criminals, gang members, drug dealers, and he hates conservative Americans. And you're supposed to reward him with the mayor's office? I don't care. I would rather sit it out and let New York burn. Let them do this to themselves. It won't be good for New York, but maybe it'll only last one term. and they will move on. They will see the error of their ways. That's the only hope. I don't want Andrew Cuomo to be mayor of, I don't want to reward him with anything. He's disgraced. He's disgusting. Couldn't do it. Give me that report from New York, because, again, there's nothing redeeming about Cuomo. What, he's a machine politician? Oh, he's not as bad as the commie. No, he's not. But on the big issue, you know, the immigration issue, he's right there with him. He wants ICE. He said this yesterday. He wants ICE out of New York City. He said this while they were rounding up violent, illegal alien criminals, people with rap sheets, including violent crimes. He wants ICE out. He wants criminals to run wild, and he wants conservatives to go screw. Here's a report from New York.
Cuomo once said conservatives aren't welcome in his state, but he's welcoming illegal immigrants with open arms. Cuomo writing an opinion article saying, quote, in New York, we are reaffirming our commitment to protecting immigrants' rights. Each new effort by the federal government to ban our immigrant sisters and brothers will be met by a redoubling of our commitment to support and protect them. Back in 2014, Cuomo told a radio station, if they are extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York, because that's not who New Yorkers are.
They have no place. So if you're conservative, you have no place in New York, and you're supposed to vote for him just because the Democrats didn't nominate a reasonable candidate, just because they nominated a radical communist Islamist. You're supposed to say, you know what, let's just go with the scumbag who killed elderly New Yorkers, who hates conservatives. Here's Cuomo yesterday. He responds to the ICE agents rounding up illegal alien criminals in Chinatown, on Canal Street in Chinatown. And Cuomo responds, this is not who we are, and it will never be New York City when I am mayor. The Statue of Liberty stands in our harbor not as a decoration, but as a declaration of our values and the promise of America. Today's ICE raid in Chinatown was an abuse of federal power by the Trump administration, more about fear than justice, more about politics than safety. New York was built by immigrants, and we will not be bullied into betraying who we are. Again, arresting violent felons, removing them from the community. And this guy, who doesn't even believe this, but he's pandering to the far left, thinking this will help him against Mamdani. It won't. Mamdani is going to win. Mamdani is your next mayor. And we have no choice at this point but sit back and watch New York descend into chaos, lawlessness. I'll just say it again. I couldn't do it. I don't know how a decent New Yorker, a decent, reasonable, rational, centrist, moderate New Yorker could vote for that piece of shit, Andrew Cuomo. Your fault, Democrats. Your fault. A city of 8 million people, and this is the best you have to offer? This corrupt sleazebag? This is the bulwark against the communists? Well, both of them want chaos in the city. Both of them want illegal alien criminals to run wild. Both of them don't give a damn about tax-paying, law-abiding citizen, about shop owners, about business in New York. They don't care. They're busy pandering to the far-left wokesters and the foreigners who came to New York and are going to vote for the commie. Again, we went over the numbers yesterday. He gets 62% of the vote of foreign-born New Yorkers. If it's just America, people born in America, Cuomo wins. But that's not who controls New York at this point. It is sad, but that's what we're talking about. And there will be, for the next 2 weeks, a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, a lot of people on my side are begging New Yorkers to vote for that guy. I'm not sure how he's going to lose anyway. So you're going to go vote for this scumbag, and then he loses, and then what? You say, well, I tried. I put my principles, my values, put them aside and voted for this guy because he's the lesser of two evils. Well, it still means he's evil, and he is. You know what? couldn't do it. People will do it. I respect that. They know New York is going to pay a huge price. Again, the guy they're going to elect, either one, but Mamdami's going to win. He wants to open prisons. He wants to close down Rikers. He doesn't want to put people in jail. He wants to defund the police, send social workers to domestic violence calls. He wants free buses, which means buses will be moving mobile drug dens. It'll be the new subway where crime is out of control. He doesn't want to put anyone in jail. He doesn't believe in incarceration. Oh, yes. And he also pals around with Islamist terrorists. He's your next mayor. He's your next mayor. Frightening, but that's where we are. And I'm not sure the best option isn't let it happen. Just let it happen. Watch how bad it gets. And maybe we will wake up and do the right thing after he destroys the city. But all right, we're going to get to KJP. And I want to do this Jen Psaki thing. Let's do Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki she was her job, she was a professional liar for a year or more under Joe Biden. It was his job, it was her job to lie on behalf of Joe Biden. Then it was KJP's job. That's the job. Lie, cover up. Their job was to lead the cover up of Joe Biden's cognitive decline. It was their job. That's what they were paid to do, to lie on behalf of the president, which is why a lot of the people attacking KJP now are full of it. They know she was lying when she said he was tip-top. She's still lying. Their job was to call her out. Their job was to uncover the cover-up. So all these people, and we talked about it yesterday, went on with Gayle King and Nate Burleson, went on with Tim Miller and the Bulwark podcast, and they berated her. They attacked KJP for being a liar, which she was. That was her job. So she did her job. You can say what you want about it, but that's the job. Your job was to call her out. Not now. A year ago, 2 years ago. Your job was to hold the powerful accountable, and you didn't. You people are disgusting. I have no respect for KJP. Again, she was on a daily basis lying on behalf of Joe Biden, covering up the scandal that was his cognitive condition. Their job was to call her out, to call her a liar. And they didn't do it until the election was over, or until Biden pulled out, and then they supported Kamala. But they didn't do their job. Now they want you to believe, oh, they're not going to stand for KJP lying. They're not going to put up with it. No. You knew he was in cognitive decline and you lied. Yes, she did. That's what she was paid to do. You were paid to call her out. You were paid to tell the American people the truth, and you didn't do it. She's bad. But Gayle King and Joe Scarborough and Tim Miller, they're worse. They are worse. They are not journalists. They're pretending to be journalists now, but they're not. Let's get KJP first, then we'll get to her predecessor, the absolutely contemptible, repugnant Jen Psaki. But I can't believe. I mean, KJP is not smart. We know that. We saw it on display every day. She's not a smart person. But she has decided to take a different tack. She is going to defend Biden to the end, which is really kind of laughable because we saw it. You don't need to tell us. We watched Joe Biden wander off into the rainforest. We watched him shake hands with imaginary people. We watched that debate. Hell, we watched him call out a congresswoman who had died weeks before. We know he wasn't there. We know he needed note cards with pictures and names of people, including Hillary Clinton. He was out of it. We know it. We saw it. Now she's on tour telling you, don't believe your lying eyes. He was perfect. He was tip top. I couldn't even keep up with him. I wasn't sure. Obviously, Kamala took a different tack to sell her book. It worked. She sold her book. I don't think it's going to work with KJP. She's sticking to the story. She's sticking to the lies she told for 2 years, and no one's buying it. Not even The View. Not even Gayle King. All these people who are still big fans of Joe Biden and Democrats are looking at her going, "You're really trying to do this? You're really running this crap by us again?" Here she is telling you how decent Joe Biden is. God, what a joke.
I'm going to tell you right now, to anyone who's watching, President Biden was one of the most decent people that and he literally woke up every morning wanting to make this country better for the American people. And whatever view that you may have of him, treating him the way that he was treated in those 3 weeks was awful. It was
deplorable.
Hey, and it was something that I just had never seen before. It was so disrespectful to a man who had given more than 50 years of public service.
Shut up.
Was he incredibly hurt by it? Did you see that?
I actually never had a conversation with him directly about it, but I can't imagine that he wasn't. And he's going to speak for himself about that time, that moment, his presidency, he's writing his own book. I'm just speaking from myself.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I lived it. I breathed it. And it was something that I just could not understand. Why would they do it this way?
Yeah. Publicly.
In a humiliating way.
Yes,
And
we
nobody's
asked that
talking
question
about this
also
one.
on this show.
One of the most decent people. Even The View can't believe she's saying that. One of the most decent people. Quick review. Joe Biden showered with his daughter. Joe Biden sent his crack-addled son around the world as the bagman for his family's money laundering scheme. Joe Biden refused to acknowledge the existence of his youngest granddaughter because her father was a crackhead and her mother was a stripper. Joe Biden was a lot of things. A decent person is not one of them. Joe Biden is an awful person. We know that now. An awful president and an even worse human being. I don't think you chose the right approach here, KJP. Even Democrats, even The View, Scarborough, they know Joe Biden failed by every measure. I think of this a lot when Trump does things like renovating the White House, like ending wars. These are things Joe Biden wasn't capable of. He was a vegetable for the last couple of years. He couldn't come up with any idea, any plan, because he was incapable when you think about it. Could he have built a ballroom? Of course. But he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't think of it. He wouldn't have the energy. He wouldn't have the initiative. He was good at one thing: squandering taxpayers' money, spending $10 trillion on useless projects. He never even tried to end wars. I mean, he opened the border because that was part of the plan. That was easy. All he did was the easy thing that his far left base wanted him to do. He had no initiative. He just didn't. It wasn't in him. He wasn't capable of it. He was there to make money and get rich, make his family rich, and destroy this country. And he did his best. But she's going to sit there and tell you, one of the most decent people. What makes him decent, lady? What did he do that was decent? I'd love to hear it. But she's bad, but she's not smart. We know that. Jen Psaki is smart, and she's just plain disgusting. Jen Psaki is now attacking J.D. Vance. Get ready for this, by the way, because all these people hoping Trump dies, the people that I told you about at the No Kings rally, hoping there was a doctor from Connecticut who had a sign at a No Kings rally that said, "Cholesterol, do your thing." Hell, I saw signs, 8647. I posted them. They want him dead. Do they know what happens if he dies? He could. I mean, he's 79, could die. Do you know what happens? You get J.D. Vance. And God, they hate the thought of that. We'll get to Jen Psaki, but first.
Excuse me.
As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Quince has the kind of fall staples you'll actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60, classic fit denim, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up and doesn't cost too much. That's important. I'll tell you what I love. I love my new suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering. It just looks really casual and put together. It makes me dread the coming cold nights a little less. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/Gerry for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/Gerry. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gerry. I've said it before, but KJP is bad when she can't get a job at MSNBC or CNN or any left-wing outfit. She is unemployable, and they know it. She couldn't do a TV show. She couldn't do a podcast. She's out there hooking her wagon to Biden because she thinks that's the only way she can make money. And maybe it is. And maybe, Harvard to hire her, but she's not going to get a job like most of these hacks like Jen Psaki and George Stephanopoulos. She's not going to step into some cushy TV gig because she's not smart enough. Jen Psaki is not dumb. She's just despicable. And she's another one of these people who wakes up in the morning full of hate, full of rage. And it's not just Trump. It's J.D. Vance because he's the next guy. And they know this is different. This isn't Mike Pence. This isn't Dan Quayle. This isn't Kamala Harris. They know he's formidable. He's 40 years old. He's smart as hell. He's like Trump. He's pretty witty. He can be a little mischievous. He tweeted at Harry Sisson after Trump dumped that human excrement on him in the AI video and the meme. He said, "Let me ask Trump about it." He tweeted at Harry Sisson, who was just went off the rails because, he's part of Trump's meme. But they're worried, and they should be, because Vance is on the same page with Trump. He's carrying out Trump's agenda, and he's young and smart and full of energy, and he is going to be tough to beat. Here's this bitter hag, Jen Psaki, claiming with no evidence that somehow that Vance and Usha, his wife, aren't happily married. This is just so despicable. She is just such a rotten human being. Go ahead.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president more than anything else. Yeah. I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, Are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter
in some ways. And he's young.
Yeah, and ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is J.D. Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right? And he just is a little odd. And so Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
oh, no, not that. First of all, a vice president who wants to be president, not that. No, unlike Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or just about every vice president. And everything they're doing is to manipulate elections. Oh, really? So they want to get elected. Man, he's strange. What a strange guy. And he's ambitious, Really, a 40-year-old vice president is ambitious? Wow. They call him scarier, and he is, because he can do it. He could do 2 terms. Trump's done in 3.5 years. Vance can do 2 terms, and they know he's smart, he's full of energy, and yes, he's ambitious. And he's not a chameleon. He's a MAGA Republican. They hate that. And they know that they don't have anybody who right now would stand a chance against him. So they're going to claim his wife. Yeah, does she look? That's a good picture right there. Does Usha look like she's a hostage, Jen Psaki? What do you bet Jen Psaki's miserable at home, just unhappily married, and just, again, wakes up every day full of rage and hate because she knows this guy, because for once, Republicans chose a great vice president who will be, hopefully, president for 2 terms, and Psaki will continue to just wake up with that rage in her belly. They hate him, and that's a good thing. If your enemies hate you, want you dead, you're doing something right. And J.D. Vance is doing a lot right. But all right, that will do it for today. Go Curtis Sliwa. I don't care. I'm voting for Curtis. If I could, I'd be voting for Curtis Sliwa, and just sitting back and watching New York burn to the ground when they elect the commie. But we'll see how it goes. That will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
And when it comes to these extremists out there, you better watch how you talk when you talk about me. Next question.